meeting at the crossroads where the two forbidden subjects of politics and religion intersect. This is the Sophie Scholl Roundtable. I'm Mel McGinnis, and to my right is Garrett Kane. And we're going to bring up a subject that has been in the news. Big media. Well, I should specify it. Social media and its impact. Social media, meaning Twitter, Google, Facebook, and the phenomena we're seeing with this massive switchover to Parler, MeWe, and a few others that I can't name right now. So we thought we'd just bring this subject up and talk about it for a moment. Garrett, have you been noticing the same thing too with this transition?
I have, and it seemed to, start really. The migration started about a week before the election, but it had been a trickle since then. And I mean, Twitter and Facebook have been doing this for a while now, though, right? But I think people have finally got fed up with the censorship. To keep in mind, Twitter and Facebook are privately owned companies and can kind of do whatever they want in terms of censorship. It stinks that they seem to be selectively censoring news and opinion from a certain set of the culture versus others that are on the other side. Even when they push the community guidelines in terms of like profanity and imagery and stuff are tending to let it slide. But I just think social media might just be a tool that's had its day in terms of what we're trying to do, which is, preach the gospel, number one, and change hearts and minds politically and socially, which helps with number one. It just might be that, Twitter and Facebook and even social media in general just might not be the best tool for that anymore.
Yeah, and as we think about these social media sites, like you say, they're private companies, and I don't want to regulate them, and yet they also seem to be operating by a different standard from what I think publishing companies would be. In other words, they want it both ways. Yeah. We want to do whatever we want while also having the benefit over here.
Yeah, let's just roll back whatever that provision is. It escapes my mind right now, 421S or whatever it is. Let's just roll it back. Everybody's going to have to get their blog game up, and buy their own website domain.
Yeah. So, again, I don't know a whole lot about this, although I just know that social media was impacted greatly in this past election. And I thought I heard a guy by the name of Robert Epstein, who is, on the left, who is a modern-day liberal, say, yeah, this figured significantly in this past election. So the response basically has been, oh, let's get out of Facebook, let's get out of Twitter. But as much as we might be making a vote against them, in doing that, we as consumers are taking a stand against that. There might be a little bit of downside to that.
Sure. I think, you're going to get even more divided politically, and I think you're going to end up just enhancing the echo chamber, because the people on the left are not going to go over to Parler. That's predominantly right now people on the right and conservatives and some libertarians who share a lot of opinions. And I guess, it depends on what your purpose is for social media. If it's trying to change hearts and minds, it's probably not, like I said, going to be the best tool, because if you switch over there, you're not going to reach those people. If it's getting information in news, you might have to do both, but I don't think either any social media is a good information news source on its own. Maybe a supplement. I mean, for most people, I think it's a time sink, and I haven't made a Parler account or a WeMe or anything else. I have my Facebook account, but I'm really trying to prune down like the investment that I make, in that, and I'll use it sometimes, for political and to help spread the gospel. But it's more, I use it to just share pictures with my family and friends, and maybe that's just what we need to do, is just step back and look at other media. Like, you're good at this, and I was good at one time. I need to get back into it. The old letter to the editor, the paper, or on the streets. If it comes down to like what was going on in Erie County, something happens that we're passionate about in terms of lockdowns, shutdowns that we want to stand up against. It doesn't do any good to sit down there in front of the keyboard, but it does do good to get out there and join other people on the streets.
Yeah, and I find using social media sites to carry on a discussion is at times very difficult. Mm-hmm. Meaning, I will inject an opinion that is contrary to the story that is put on that Facebook post. And it has been very difficult to sustain a back and forth conversation without the other side resorting to verbal invectives. And it's just not something I anticipated, especially when I would try to do this with those that are part of the academia community. And I've just been taken aback at how opinionated some have been, rather than engaging in a respectful dialogue.
Yeah, but I mean, it's hard now too, because we're so restricted, and a lot of our friends are sort of like a spectrum of comfort in terms of face-to-face personal interactions right now. So we've kind of, the need for that might be a lot higher in some people's lives who are still like at risk from this virus and isolated. We don't want to take that away, but like I said, it's just what we use it for. It might not be the best tool to change hearts and minds anymore, and have high level, deep end conversations.
I know. It's great for sound bites.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's great for like these sentence memes or whatever. Some of them are humorous. Some of them do make a point. But carrying on a lengthy dialogue, it really, I think, works against substantive conversation.
But I think there is, a danger in like you said, that, these companies who are private companies, but not held to the same type of libel laws that a publisher are having an immense amount of influence in the political and policy landscape. So, I was halfway kidding about rolling back the legal protections that they have that publishers of classical media don't have. And I think it would probably kill Facebook and Twitter, but maybe that's not the worst thing in the world in terms of our society and our politics.
Could be. I just wish Zuckerberg and Dorsey would be really upfront about their political bias. Mm-hmm. Because I think they try to come off as trying to be objective. Like these standards they have, I think are loaded against the side of the right or libertarian thinking, while I feel like they give all kinds of passes to the left.
Yep.
So we'll see how this social media pans out, especially with these new outlets on the street.
Yeah.
Parler, MeWe. I myself haven't gone on it.
Someday I might. It's just like, I don't think I can handle. I used to have a Twitter account and Facebook, and I just found myself devoting too much of my time and energy between the two, and I could probably cut my social media interaction on just Facebook and the YouTube stuff that I watch down and be better for it.
Yeah, that is a downside. The time that can be so invested in that. Rather, people should get a good book and read it.
Yeah, another little idol or a big idol.
I know. So that's our short discussion on the Sophie Scholl Society, big media or social media in our time.